Because I used to deliver papers down, you know, to the left. You go on Route 10 and go left, everything down, all the way down to Hazelnut. I had that whole route.
You know, my grandmother was 97. She still stays in touch with people. She worked at the Kellys.
Oh, yeah?
People that were some of the higher ups there.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
stayed in touch with her over the years.
And you want to work, period.
Yeah, there was still a lot of families over in Avon. Some of the old houses that had never left.
Yeah.
I remember when I was on the department over there.
So I just stole one of these, but, so
Oh,
you were here last time.
For this, yeah.
Yes,
My
and then I
grandparents
was
lived
here,
in
not, I read the notes,
their
but
EB
I
house.
was for the presentation, the first one.
Until about 10 years ago, maybe.
So,
All right, let's get started. We set a world, oh. We all right?
Yeah. That was from May.
Is that good? No. That's not gonna work. Are these? How's that? Is that better? We got feedback.
Maybe
somewhere.
that mic right there in front of Hiram's podium.
Should I do it again?
Let's try it again. Is that better?
Yeah, it's that mic right there. We usually don't use that.
Can we go without that one, Hiram?
We got a big enough, small enough audience.
Yeah. And we've got a huge crowd here that,
Okay.
There's a guy in the back.
If you keep it
Speak
down, we're
up.
not gonna be able to hear the speaker.
Folks at SCTV won't be happy about
It's definitely not.
that's it.
Yeah, I saw the,
Oh, okay. I didn't
I actually saw
online.
the, they had diagrams of the water flow.
that might be here,
Yeah.
right?
I have zero knowledge of audiovisual. I would be totally useless.
Gotta get a 12-year-old over here.
Yeah.
Take a look at it.
I'm carrying us.
Are we gonna try it? Are we good?
Not yet. Okay, I'm gonna press record now.
I would.
Showed the, there's another.
Where are the SCTV people? Aren't they usually here?
They usually come over and then they come back.
Site plans, 'cause I didn't-
Oh, I think it was.
They work out of Eno.
Right.
They don't stay in the building.
What do you think, David? Yeah, let's go ahead and even if we can't. So are we being recorded or not? SC, okay, let's go with that. All right, well, so now with that 3-minute delay, we can't beat our record from last week, which, 2 weeks ago, but we'll try. Let's call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the zoning commission for the town of Simsbury for Monday, June 1st. We do not need to appoint alternates because we have all 6 regular members here. Very nice attendance, appreciate that. Looking at the minutes for May 18th, read through them, really didn't have any comments. Anybody that was here or see anything that needed to be changed? All right, so while I move, we'll adopt the minutes as submitted. First order of business is to appointment of Rachel Blatt as Assistant Code Enforcement Officer. Mr. Peck.
Right, Mr. Chairman, Rachel's recently joined us as Assistant Town Planner, as you know, for almost a year now, something like that. And she's gotten her certification for code enforcement. She passed her Casio exam the last couple of weeks, and so it would be appropriate for her to be appointed as an assistant, so that whenever Mike Glidden has a conflict of interest or he's away on vacation or whatever, that she can fill in the meantime, do some things as well. So I would recommend her to the commission as a assistant code enforcement officer.
And so then is that something we move and second and approve? So that we
I'll move the approval, appointment of Rachel Blatt as Assistant Code Enforcement Officer.
looking for a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Ryan. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. So congratulations to Rachel, doing a great job. I'm sure you're delighted to have her.
She gonna come speak?
All right. Next item is the consent, on the consent agenda is application 15-17 of Joshua Musso? Musso? How's that? Agent, Simsbury Specialty Housing, owner for sign permit for Ojakian Commons on the property located at 100 Castor Bridge Crossing. Hiram had forwarded this to me and to Jen Murnane at the DRB, and it conforms in all respects. Very handsome-looking sign. That project is nearing completion, correct?
Right, moving forward, people are just getting ready to, pretty soon to move into that.
So unless any of the commissioners reviewing that had a major objection, we'll approve that as a consent item. So
I don't know that we saw it. It wasn't in this
was it?
week's
Probably
package.
not. Was it not?
Sure, I think we sent it out now.
Was it?
It wasn't in the packet.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
Yeah, it wasn't in the packet.
We did a download, it wasn't there.
Apologize. I saw it, but. it
Yeah,
doesn't
but it
help
wasn't
you.
in the package.
No, I know. It doesn't help you.
This is basically it, and the sign meets the requirements with regard to size, location. There are 2 pillars on either side, stone facing. It'll be nestled in the landscaping at the front of their driveway, off of Castor Ridge Crossing, which is the Dorset Crossing Road.
So it's internal, so it's not out of Route 10.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And that's one of the reasons why that's recommended as a consent.
All right. You guys all, everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Next item is discussion and possible action on any agenda items, including application 1514 of Ed Lawley and Associates, agent, Mike Gerard, president, Gerard Brothers Corporation, applicant for Riverbend Holdings LLC, care of Tim Laskley, senior vice president owner, for sign permit and the site plan approval on the property located at 80 Wolcott Road, assessors map I-02, block 439, lot 009. And we will take both of these at the same time. In terms of presentation, we'll vote on them separately, which is application 15-16. Same, it's Ed Lawley and Associates agent for Phonon Corporation, care of Tommy Martin, president and board chairman and owner, for a site plan amendment on a property located at 90 Wolcott Road. We did a zone change on this last time, and today we're looking at the site plan and sign package.
Correct.
Thank you.
For the record, my name is Ed Lowley. I'm a licensed professional engineer and land surveyor. I'm asked by Gerard Brothers Corporation and Phonon Corporation to present these applications for site plan and sign to you. We, of course, received zone change to change this to an I-2, and that's the zone that we're operating under. With that change to zone to an I-2, both these properties became conforming as to lot area. There are no nonconformances on the existing buildings with the exception of location, with the exception of the existing building here. There is a nonconformance which was approved by ZBA as to the parking of the Phonon with respect to its property line. The new parking lot and the new property line, which would be in this location, would deed about 0.4 tenths of an acre from the Gerard Brothers property to the Phonon property, and allow them to net out an additional 30 parking spaces, which would be paved and designed consistent with their parking area. The existing lights would remain there, and there'd be no new lights proposed. There are 3 new catch basins, and an absorption system is proposed for that property, and all other aspects of that building and the site would remain the same. The town engineer had some comments on the storm drainage system. We received them just today. I think he sent them last week sometime. I was out of the office on Thursday and Friday, but we'd like to accept the staff's recommendation that this plan be approved, subject to our working out any details that are brought up in that engineering comments with the town engineer regarding the drainage and any other issues that he may have had. We may adopt some of his recommendations, just adopt them right off, or we may meet with him and say, what if we do it this way? But we would have to obtain his concurrence on whatever we decide to do regarding those drainage comments. As far as the Gerard Brothers Corporation, existing building will remain unchanged, perhaps some cosmetic upgrade. There's some landscaping out front that would be basically doubled in its intensity and a screening effect. New berm would be placed in this area. A new berm would be also placed with similar plantings near the Phonon parking. There's a bit of landscaping right here, and we would be significantly increasing that and raising up the berm a little bit in the area where there's not existing landscaping, because we can't fill around the existing trees, but we'll enhance that. So as you drive down the street, you might get a peekaboo view at the 3 driveways that are proposed, but otherwise you won't be able to see much of what's going on inside the site. The existing landscaping that's shown around here was taken off apart from aerial survey and apart from field survey, and none of that vegetation is going to be affected. If you drove by the site today, you'd see a fence close to the street. That fence is being removed and pushed back behind the landscaping. The new fence line will tie into the old fence line here, come down and provide a jog to allow their largest rig with their largest trailer with their largest piece of equipment to pull completely off the road before it comes to the gate, so that there'll be no disturbance of traffic on Wolcott. The gate would then be open and allow that vehicle through. The fence would then tie into the building here, come off the building and have another gate in this area, and then a bit more fence back in here, so that this parking area is street side of the security fence, and that's where most of the customers, vendors, and employees will be parking. There's a couple of low lights proposed in front of this building, and there'll be some lights on the side of the building. All of the lights are dark sky compliant, they're all shielded, and there'll be no light trespass on anybody else's property. The building is, and Mike will speak to the building in a minute, the building is proposed to be very attractive in the front, and be an office type building with the maintenance and vehicle maintenance and storage to the rear, with a potential expansion of about 3,000 square feet. There'll be a salt material storage building to keep the salt out of the weather, keep the water off of it, keep it from contaminating any of the ground. A berm and a swale is proposed along these 2 sides of the property, so any disturbed soil that is happening here because of the storage or moving of construction equipment or construction materials or earth materials, all that water will be picked up and put into a DEP approved settling basin with a overflow. The town engineer had a concern about how that might affect the road adjacent, and as with the Phonon comments, we would like to accept approval subject to our resolving any issues that he had on our storm drainage system design.
Excuse me, that's a question. Is that road the entrance to the landfill? Is that where the property
no,
abuts?
it's a farm road.
It's a farm road? Okay.
Yeah.
What is
And the solution may be simple as Simsbury putting a pipe under there, or providing appropriate erosion controls, or broadening out the emergency spillway so we don't have concentrated flow. But whatever we work out with the town engineer, we'll be happy to comply and improve the plan in local ways. The settling basin has a small retention function, but we did not consider any infiltration of groundwater into the bottom of that, because at some points in its life there will be accumulated silt, and other times the silt will be removed. So the absorption capacity underneath the bottom of the pond will be higher at some times and lower at others, depending on the silt accumulation and the frequency of cleaning, which is specified in the plans. But to make sure that we were conservative, we considered absolutely no infiltration function of that, which provides us with a factor of safety in our stormwater drainage. Most of the drainage from the hard surfaces and roofs in this area go into catch basins and will be infiltrated into the ground. The net result is that we have a decrease in flow, both the volume and the rate of stormwater flow from this property after development as compared to now. There is a DEP approved fuel facility here. It has its own self-containment structure, and I believe it's a double wall tank. And it's the same unit that is currently being used at Iron Horse Boulevard. It meets fire marshal's concern, and will surely meet the town engineer's concern. And that's exterior here. There's a scale proposed in this area, so material coming in and coming out can be weighed, because most material is sold by the ton. And that's behind the building, so that activity will be screened from the street as well. The whole hope here is to have an organized, way of handling stormwater, an organized way of handling construction, parking of construction equipment, storage of construction materials, storage of earth-type materials, control access to the site, control security, screen it well from the street. And we've been to design review, who were pleased. We've been to the Conservation Commission, who asked us to remove a Norway spruce. They didn't want non-native species, and so we've taken that off of our landscaping list. And we've been to Economic Development. Mike was to their meeting. They were pleased. We were found to be in conformance with the plan of development by the Planning Commission. You, of course, approved the zone change, and this is the last step in a relatively long trail to moving Mike's family's business from Iron Horse to this location. If you have any questions of me about the site plans, I'll try to answer them. Mike is here to give you a brief presentation on the building.
Are there any current structures on there now? Isn't there something on the right going up there? Where is that?
For the record, Mike Gerard, Simsbury Farms and Gerard Brothers Corporation. That building, 7,500 square foot building is existing.
It is, okay.
Yes, and it was used for propagating plants. Imperial Nursery had it there, and they were, basically that's where they started to seed the plants. Then they were moved from there to the hoop houses that were outside this building, and then moved from there to the other hoop houses in East Granby and so forth. There's tons of them up there. There's hundreds of them up there. That's about the only building there.
There's a concrete pad here indicating that there was a building there in the future, in the past.
That was a barn.
Okay, all right.
The lighting for the Phonon piece of the new site plan, you said that's not changing.
Right.
Is it adequate for safety, parking, for
Yes.
that side of the?
Yeah, it's right at the far edge of the existing parking lot, and so it'll hit both the existing parking lot and the new parking lot.
Okay.
And that little gap was what, a culvert, you said? And on the green on the south side?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, right there where you have the little gap in the vegetation.
Oh, the vegetation here is not so strong. Doesn't show up on the aerial photographs. It's so thick. So,
Was it wetlands or is that?
no, wetlands is way over here, and we're outside of their jurisdictional limit.
We're 135
Wetlands
feet.
and then their jurisdictional limit, and then us, by quite some distance. We did go to Conservation Commission, and they found that there was no wetlands jurisdiction. Mike?
Mike Gerard, Simsbury Farms, the hopeful tenant of this property, and also I'm president of Gerard Brothers Corporation, yeah. The building that we're proposing, this was designed by Borghese. It's, we're basically 6,400 feet of office in the front with 12,000 feet of, this is full build out, 12,000 square feet of shop to the rear. As you can see, the building, this is what you would see from the front. This is what you see if you were looking off from the runway at Simsbury Airport looking west. That's what you would see from the back. This is the side that would face the dump, for lack of a better term, the landfill. And this would be the side that would be facing going on. And there would be screening, obviously, went through that. There's certain screening that we'll put in to try to hide as much as we can of the property, of the commercial end of the business. The other building that we're doing is basically for salt storage is 2,400 square feet. It's just a three-sided building with a good roof on it to just keep the water and the moisture out of the salt. And it's something that we use constantly. We sell a tremendous amount of salt in wintertime to different landscapers and so forth for ice control. And it's a good resource for us and for them to have it right on site. We also, the building itself lends itself very well to solar panels. Both buildings actually have a good southern, southwestern exposure, and would lend themselves very well for solar panels. And the roof that's proposed on this building is a standing seam roof, which accepts solar panels very nicely. So we would investigate that to see if we could manage to put something, because I guess there was a comment along the line that it would be a good opportunity to do that. And I think it's a great idea and something we would look into. The idea here also is to move our shop from 2 Farms Village Road, as well as our office from 2 Farms Village Road, and our shop from Iron Horse Boulevard here. The first step would be to, as we sold that property, to move the garage here, then the entire shop, and then the building, the office building would follow immediately thereafter, because we would be selling the property on Farms Village Road also. Other than that,
So the staging of the building then is the garage first, the shop, and then the office?
yes, because we have to, when we sell Iron Horse, we'll have so much time to get out of there, and we can, that'll be an easy move. The move from Farms Village Road, we can therefore take a little bit of time if we have to. It doesn't, I'm not talking years, I'm talking, you know, I wouldn't have to give away the building in order to move and rebuild and so forth. So what I would like to do is I'd like to do it basically in 2 phases, which is one with the building, and then second, immediately following, with the office there.
Right, so immediately we would see something similar to the view from the airport.
Similar, but it wouldn't be a
But
long, it wouldn't be, we're not talking a lot of time, but it would be done, it would have to be done in 2 steps.
So the office building's gonna be done later in front?
Not very much later, but yes, yes. This is just, the thing is that there, it's kind of hard enough to coordinate the selling of the shop to move over here, let alone try to coordinate the shop and the office all at the same time. If I can do them both at the same time, I think it wouldn't be a problem, there's not gonna be a problem. However, I don't wanna tie myself into that because I don't know how fast the office will sell. I know the shop is something we've been working on for quite a while, and we have some potential buyers for that now, and we're hoping to see something happen there within the next year, or this coming year, if everything goes well. And then again, the office would be follow thereafter.
Mike, can you, just, excuse me, can you clarify, when you say you're going to sell the shop, you're really going to sell the property that the shop is
Property
on?
where the shop, I call it the shop. The property where.
No, he's not selling a shop.
Property- No, the property, we're gonna sell the property on Iron Horse Boulevard. Obviously, the shop is there, and there's a brown barn there, it's about 17,000 square feet, and we're replacing it with around 20,000 square feet. This is about 20, well, it's 4,400 square feet over at our office now, and there's 17,000 square feet at the shop on Iron Horse Boulevard right now, and those will be combined to a total of 20,800 square feet here.
Like, those are all roll-up doors, drive-in,
Yes.
no dock high, and what
No.
kind of clearance are you looking for at the?
They're 14 by 14 doors and 14 by 16 doors.
No, like, what's the clear height of the shop space?
The inside of the shop has to be at least 22 feet on the inside of the shop at the peak to
No,
have a
it's-
dump truck raise the body.
So it's like 24 clear, roughly?
22
To the
clear.
top of the building outside.
Top of the building outside would be like 24 to 25 feet high at the peak right here.
Right, so you're talking probably 30 feet high at the peak of the office, roughly? Maybe?
I would say all of that, yeah.
And
Yes.
what's the total square footage of the shop, of the office space?
The office space is 6,400 square feet on 2 floors. It'll have a half a basement, designed to have a half a basement so we can build the frost wall section of the shop first. And the second piece could be frost wall here, step down to a full foundation, which would allow us to build it in a phase, like a phase 2, so to speak, just in case. This roof doesn't have a lot of pitch to it, and apparently what they're doing now is the roofs are kept as flat as possible. For snow, because what the steep roofs on a metal roof, snow slides off, it's quite dangerous actually. So what they've done is they've gone to a minimum pitch on the roofs. This happens to have a green roof, which kind of, I think, will add a little bit to it. This is basically gray and green, is what it is. And those are the colors we're thinking of. We might dress up the building a little bit as we go, but it looks like an office building, and that's the intent.
The material on the side of the building is what?
Vinyl siding. This is vinyl, this is metal. The office is just a vinyl siding with low maintenance, just as very similar to what we have now. Although the vinyl today is really great material.
Will the roof be ballasted?
Will the roof be ballasted?
Will it have pebbles or rocks along on top of the surface?
Oh no, this is a very shallow pitched metal roof standing seam.
Oh, it's pit, okay, it's pitched. I'm just thinking in terms of the adherence of the solar panels if you go that direction.
You're gonna see the solar panel on the south side, which is this side right here, you would see the solar panels as you would on the existing building which also faces exactly the same south. And you would see the solar panels. Well, I don't know how much you'd see actually, because coming up the street, this is pretty well vegetated right here. And coming up the street, I don't know how much you're gonna really see of the buildings as far as the panels go. I don't think you're gonna, I suppose if you were at the landfill over here and looked over, you might see them, but, or coming flying in on an airplane, but I don't think you're gonna see, the panels. And there won't be any on the side of the phone on, because it's the wrong side, and there's no exposure there.
What about rooftop units? Are you gonna have any air-conditioned shop space?
No, everything will be, everything will be ground elevated, there's no, well, all the ventilation work will be all suspended from the ceiling in the shop, inside.
Yeah.
Here, basically, it'll be just like a house, just like we have, yes. Same. We put some thought in it, and the idea was to try to make it fit the area, make it look like it was an industrial use, only in a sense that it was more commercial than industrial, you know, like office building type of thing. And there's actually a great feature to being wide like that. You can basically see right down both sides and see what's going on at the shop at the same time. So if dispatch is located here, they can see right down the shop, they can see everything that's going on with the windows and everything else. We've tried to think it out from experience. We've tried to think it out so that it works, everything works to our benefit. Any other questions?
Is there a storage for waste fuel, like?
We have above ground interior drums that we use. What we do with the waste fuel is we use it for heating. So waste oil. All the engine oil that comes out of the equipment, which is a lot. We basically pump into tanks on the inside of the building, vertical tanks inside the building, and they feed waste oil heaters, which are fantastic. And that's how this building is heated. This building will be heated probably with gas. The office will be gas. The shop will be heated with waste oil. They're clean, they're efficient, they're not very expensive, and they run on waste, which is great. Otherwise, you have to pay to get rid of it.
Any other questions, Mr. Ferrara?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any questions or comments relative to the site plan? What about the sign plan?
Oh, yes, the sign. I handed out last week some things, I don't know if you kept them or not, but I do have others. The sign plan is in this package here. So I think we're on the last page.
Thank you. So it's the same sign that's on Farms
So,
Village?
the same exact sign that's on Farms Village Road, and obviously there'll be landscaping. This is basically a 4x8 sign, and it's.
There it goes, Mr. Lawley is showing us where.
This is the location of proposed sign.
All right, and it complies, Hiram.
It does.
All right. Hearing no other questions, I'd be looking for first a motion. Well, let's discuss a couple of the comments that you have relative to each of the two applications. So the first is as it relates to Walkout Road, and I would say that we'll make a motion with the provisos requested by Mr. Lawley that this was primarily with 80, that you work out any open items with the engineer?
Yes, it's actually on both.
On both, okay. All right, so we'll add that provision. And then the staff has suggested that we give consideration to the roof mounting of solar panels, so we strongly suggest that that be done.
We can't really hold.
I don't think we should
I
make
think
it.
it's a great idea and a
not
great
a- not a
speech, I just
condition.
don't know what, I mean, what the economics really are on that.
So, yeah,
The way it's worded though, Derek, is that they give consideration to it. It's not worded as a requirement.
Right.
I think as Mike said, that if they can work it out and if it saves them money, that's great. technology is improving so quickly that, you know, in a year, it may work really well.
They wouldn't have to come back for a site plan amendment.
If they can't, if it doesn't work. So, yeah, it's not a requirement, it's a strong suggestion that you consider. Second is that the submitted plan has been reviewed by the town engineer and his comments are attached. The commission decides to approve the application as follows as recommended, include the town engineer's comments as part of the approval motion, so I suggest we do that. Include the comments of the Conservation Commission regarding the erosion and sedimentation control plan. So that's as it relates to 80 Wolcott Road, and as it relates to 90, just bear with me a second. So we'll, same thing, we'll note that this has been reviewed, and approval by the EDC to the, recommendation to the zoning commission, been reviewed by Conservation Commission, and found acceptable, and design review board. And that, the commission decides to approve this application as recommended. The motion for approval include the following town engineer's comments dated May 29th, made part of this approval. So everyone's seen those and are comfortable with those, all right. So let's, I'd first be looking for a motion for approval of 80 Wolcott Road, site plan amendment, and the sign.
I'll move that, and we approve application 15-14 with the inclusion of the town engineer's concerns and comments, that the Conservation Commission's concerns with drainage, and the potential for adding a solar panels to the roof should be permitted or not as they see.
Okay, look for a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And second, I would be looking for a motion relative to 90 Wolcott Road, application 1516.
Make a motion to accept application 1516 as was presented tonight.
With the provisos as listed, including the inclusion of the town engineer's comments. And a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Peterson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? So your applications are approved.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with the move.
Very much.
And sale, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. And Lorraine, you noted that Mr. Doyle and Mr. Cosgrove are here as well in attendance.
Thank you.
I got Mr. Cosgrove, I think.
Wow, I didn't slam the door when I came in. I gotta make a great
You didn't
entrance.
get here until 20 after.
Nice presentation, Skip.
I was here before the initial call, I'd like that on record. I was here before the call.
Yes, he was.
Just really get
Wants
to
the record to be straight on.
Where's the camera?
Get it on camera. Hiram, what's going on?
Very quickly, Mr. Chairman, as you know, we're starting to work through the zoning regulations, trying to clear those up. Some of the things that are conflicting or unclear or whatever, working on that now with Glenn from Plan Metrics. He's starting to set up the sort of the overall framework for that. One of the things that we haven't talked to them about yet at all, but I thought was an interesting concept. I just wanted to give it to the commission. It's a concept called co-housing. I don't know if have you ever heard of it or not, but it really is an interesting way where, as it says, aging residents are increasingly turning to co-housing. This is the type of housing that has started in other parts of the country. There's relatively little of it in the Northeast, but it's beginning to get a hold. So it's just something to consider in terms of an alternative for elderly folks. Typically, there are small units that are clustered. It could work through some of our current regulations. It's an ownership form, so it's really something that we could make a relatively minor tweak to our regulations. What happens is that the housing is built around kind of a community house. So if once in a while they want to get together, the folks that live in that particular development, whether they're elderly or whether they have some other particular affliction, whether they're in a wheelchair or whatever, they can get together and have a meal. What's also kind of interesting too is that what happened in some of these developments is that some of the older people take care of the younger people's kids. So they really develop kind of a family relationship. And the other thing is that there are older people that are in the development, what some of the younger people do is look out for them. So it's really kind of a community that's really built much more of a community than just simply having a bunch of houses that are close together. So I thought it was an interesting concept. I just kind of wanted to lay it out there and see what you thought. So in the next meeting or two, if you have some comments on it or some thoughts about it, just let me know.
I was gonna say, back in the 70s in Berkeley, we called this a commune.
And in Scarborough Street, they call it illegal.
Yeah.
Isn't this really what Virginia Conley Murphy Apartments are now?
Could that be?
Virginia Conley Murphy Apartments, really, it's the same concept.
Yeah, it's the same concept. I think
I
that she,
mean, other than they rent.
yeah, the organization could be a little bit different. They said I'm only aware of one in the state of Connecticut so far, but it's really, was done by a really talented architect, and it can look really nice. Depends upon what people think in terms of different alternatives for different people in different various stages of their life. So just thought it was an interesting concept. I just wanted to get it out there for you to take a look.
Where's
at.
the one in Connecticut?
Actually, it's in a town just north of New Haven, Bethany. Yeah. People that in the town were very, very opposed to it because they had similar flashbacks, if I could use the term. Their concern was that it was too dense for that area. That one actually survives completely on septic systems without sewers, and so it's just starting actually right now. So, but it was laid out really well, and after a number of tries, they actually had to propose it as an 8-30G in order to get it approved, frankly. But that's what happened there. So, interesting. It's an interesting plan to take a look at. So.
What's the source of this, Hiram?
This article?
Yeah.
It's Governing Magazine back in 2012. And there's a bunch of stuff. If you just Google co-housing, you'll see some of it. There's an article, it talks about, most of it was started in California, strangely enough. But it's rapidly spreading in various parts of the country. Not, as I said, it's not a huge movement. It's not something that's overtaking the country. Just a different alternative that some people might want to take a look at. So just something to think about. But really, hopefully what we end up with in our regulations is a really nice, clean, relatively short set of regulations that's really easy for everybody to understand. That's what I'm really looking to do. So hopefully that'll help out everybody.
That's our goal.
Anything else that people have comments on?
Working hard down at Cumberland Farms, that's in full gear.
Yes.
And the barn building, I saw them gutting, they were
Really?
gutting it, yeah.
Inside?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Doing both of those at the same time, so there's kind of a really kind of a carefully orchestrated dance down there between the contractors, so it's a busy site. They would like to be open in the fall, so it's going to be moving, so we'll see what happens.
And I don't know, some of you weren't here 2 weeks ago, but Big Y has announced that they're not gonna start till next spring, so.
Right.
that's-
So we're waiting for
Spring of what year?
Yeah, they're gonna start in the spring.
You know, they said,
Go with that.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna go with
go with that.
absolutely.
that. All right, anything else?
All I have, unless you have any questions.
Questions? Good.
Good, thank you very much.
Thanks, Hiram.
All in favor, say aye.
Good.
Good deal.
Hey, did you see this? Colma Village's communal facilities included